My name's Elias Ward, and I've been a county surveyor for 15 years. I've seen abandoned mines, ghost towns, collapsed bridges. Nothing shocks me anymore. But Briar Hollow was different. I didn't even know the town existed until the county sent me to inspect a collapsed access road deep in the Blue Ridge foothills. The assignment sheet listed it as quote-unquote unincorporated land, but halfway through the forest, I saw a wooden sign I'd never seen before. Briar Hollow, established 1874. Population, blank. Literally blank. There was no number. The sign wasn't rotted, it wasn't weathered, it looked well maintained. But the strangest part, there was no record of this place on any map, old or new. I should have turned around right then, but I kept driving. The road curved into a valley where the light changed, not in a stormy, cloudy way, but like someone slowly turning down a dimmer switch. Shadows stretched unnaturally long across the pavement. The trees leaned toward the road like they were listening. Then the town appeared. Wooden homes, a general store, a boarded-up church, a single dusty road. It looked like something frozen in time, but at the same time untouched. No people, no cars, no sound, just the muted hum of wind through the hollow. I parked in front of the old general store and stepped out. That's when I saw her, a woman in a long, faded dress, sitting on the porch of a nearby house, rocking slowly in a wooden rocking chair. Her posture was perfect, spine straight, hands folded neatly in her lap. "Ma'am?" I called. She didn't respond. "Are you alright? Do you live here?" She turned her head toward me, just barely. Her neck creaked like old floorboards. Her face, it wasn't diseased or monstrous. It wasn't anything dramatic, actually. It was just blank, expressionless, emotionless, like she wasn't fully inside her own skin. Then she turned and whispered to me, "You shouldn't stay out past dark." Her voice was wrong, not shaky, not fearful, just flat, like reading a line from a script she'd memorized. Before I could even ask anything else, she slowly rocked back and forth again, gaze drifting past me like I wasn't worth focusing on. The sun dipped slightly lower behind the hills, and I swear the shadows shifted towards me. I tried checking the homes. Every door was unlocked, every house was furnished, food sat on tables half-eaten, plates still warm as if someone had just left. But every room was empty, and every window faced the woods. It was like the whole town was watching the tree line. The deeper I walked, the more the town changed, not visually, but atmospherically. The silence wasn't just quiet, it was pressurized, like being trapped underwater. And then I noticed something else. All the clocks were stopped at the exact same time, 6:12 p.m. Dusk. I looked at my phone. It was 6:02 p.m. The sun was dipping behind the ridge. 10 minutes. 10 minutes until something. I turned to head back to my truck and froze. Someone was standing in the middle of the road. A tall man in old work clothes, staring at me with the same blank expression the woman had. His chest rose and fell shallowly, but his eyes didn't move. They didn't even blink. "Sir, do you need help?" I called. He lifted one arm slowly, painfully slowly, and pointed behind me. I turned. Every window in the town now had someone staring out of it. Men, women, children, all with the same blank, dead stillness. All watching me. Then the men whispered, "It's dusk." The sun touched the horizon, and every person in Briar Hollow started screaming. Not just loud, inhumanly loud. A chorus of agony that rattled my teeth. But their faces didn't change, their mouths didn't open, their bodies didn't even move. They just stood frozen in place as the screaming poured out from them like a recording jammed on max volume. I staggered back, covering my ears, and then they all stopped at once. Pure silence. The sun dipped fully below the ridge, darkness bled into the street like ink, and the people of Briar Hollow all lowered their heads in unison. Something moved at the far end of the road. No footsteps, no breath, just shifting, like cloth rustling in the wind. But there was no wind. The townsfolk all whispered together, voices blending into a single flat tone. They walked tonight. My heart hammered. Nope, I muttered. Nope, nope, nope. But before I could move, I heard it. A dragging sound. Slow, grinding, and wet. And then shapes emerged from the tree line. Tall, bent, wrapped in something that looked like old burlap sacks soaked in mud. But underneath the burlap, I saw movement. Shreds of limbs, something stretching inside the fabric, something trying to claw its way out. Then one of the shapes lifted its head. If you could call it a head, I guess. The burlap tore down the middle. Inside wasn't a face, just darkness. An opening, writhing darkness that pulsed like a living wound. The people whispered again, "Don't let them mark you." One of the shapes reached out with a long, slick hand that wasn't a hand, more like a twisted limb with too many joints. It touched the ground, and everything it touched rotted instantly. Earth turning gray, wood splitting, stone cracking. I just turned and ran. The only church that looked remotely safe was the church. Rotted, boarded up, leaning like it wanted to collapse. I slammed through the door and barricaded it behind me. Inside was pitch black, but I found a lantern and lit it. On the walls, carvings covered the wood. Desperate scratches. They come at night. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't look at them. Don't let them mark you. The town is just the bait. We are their return. We are their return. We are their return. The phrase repeated again and again, carved until the wood bled splinters. My lantern flickered, the temperature dropped, and then the dragging again, now outside, right against the church boards. Slow, deliberate, and hunting. Something scraped across the door, then a voice right behind me whispered, "Elias." I turned, lantern shaking. Nothing was there. But the carvings on the wall had changed. New words appeared. Carved fresh. "Don't leave the church. Not until sunrise. Or you become one of us." My blood froze. One of us? Outside, the shapes circled the church. Their limbs dragged along the walls, leaving streaks of black rot in their wake. Sometimes I heard them stop. Sometimes I heard them attempt to whisper to each other. Sometimes I heard the people of Briar Hollow whisper back to them. Time stretched like taffy. Minutes became hours. At one point, something pressed against the boarded window. I saw an outline through the wood slats, a long, distorted body stretching impossibly thin to look inside. It whispered, "Come out. Join the dusk." I didn't move, didn't breathe. The boards creaked as the shape pressed harder, then harder, and eventually, the first orange hint of sunrise touched the sky. And the shapes all shrank back into the shadows, melting into the trees like ink in water. The townsfolk collapsed to the ground, unmoving and motionless, like mannequins dropped from a great height. I didn't wait. I sprinted down the road past the houses, past the blank-eyed corpses, past the woman still in her rocking chair, only this time she wasn't blank-faced anymore. She was smiling at me. It was wide, far too wide. "Morning," she said cheerfully, as if nothing happened. Then she added in the same flat voice as before, "You survived night. You'll hear them now, you know." I didn't respond. I jumped into my truck, turned the key, and floored it out of Briar Hollow. The second I hit the county road, sunlight washed over the windshield and the weight in the air lifted. But in the rearview mirror, Briar Hollow was gone. Not faded, not distant. Gone. The valley was empty, just trees. No houses, no church, no people. It was as if the town was never there. That was 3 months ago. I filed my report. The county said the assignment paperwork must have had a typo. It told me Briar Hollow doesn't exist. But at night, Right around dusk, I hear dragging outside my house. Slow, wet, and patient. Sometimes I hear whispering on the other side of my walls, but not loud, just insistent. And last night, etched into the wood near my bedroom door, I found a message carved in long, jagged strokes. We marked you. Underneath it, a symbol, a crooked loop with a hooked tail. Same one I saw carved inside the church. Same one the woman traced on her dress as I ran past. And when I touched the carving, the wood turned black under my fingers. So I'm writing this for anyone who stumbles across a town that isn't on any map, a town where the clocks stop at 6:12 p.m., a town where nobody blinks, nobody smiles, nobody screams properly even, a town that only exists until dawn. If you ever find Briar Hollow, don't talk to the people. Don't stay past sunset. Don't look at what comes out of the woods. And above all, don't let them touch you. Once they mark you, dusk follows you home. And eventually, it will claim you.